Alright, so I'm going to give a brief rundown here of our ICP8 submission. This is our intro into Android development, um, and we just made a simple Hello World type application, uh, basic login screen that brings you to another screen, which is the home screen, and then that allows you to log out. So first I guess, run through the app since I already have the emulator up and running. Um, I set this application so that the username and password needed to be admin and password respectively. So I apologize if this runs a little slow. These emulators aren't the fastest. So we have admin there, password here. And just to show you as an example, if I were to put in the wrong password in admin, so let's say that I used, let's say I used Jimmy and 123. Okay, this emulator's not really wanting to respond. Okay. If I put in the wrong admin and password, I have a alert box come up here saying that we have an invalid username / password. So now if I put in the right one, admin and password, when we log in, we are brought to the home screen of this application. And that is essentially the gist of this. It was just a quick introduction into setting intents so that buttons bring you to different screens, having a login page and whatnot. If I click log out here, it will bring me back to the login screen. So we'll exit out of this emulator now, and I'll show you just a little bit of code. Most of it's pretty straightforward. So we'll start with our main activity.java. This code here, I identify my button, the login button on my home page, and then I set on click listener so that way whenever I do click on that, I get both the username and password from the edit text boxes, and I ensure that the admin and the password are as should be, admin and password. If they aren't, I create this alert dialog which you showed that said the password, what the username or password were invalid. Otherwise, I go to home screen, which I have my function defined down here. I set a new intent for the home activity class, and then I start activity on that intent. We can look at the home activity. All it is a basic activity. I use the activity _ home XML page. So it just brings you to that screen, and whenever we click on the logout button, it calls the go to login screen function here, which just starts an activity on the intent for the main activity class. Looking at the XML real quick, this might be a little bit redundant, but I just have a few buttons, text views, image views. This is for the home activity, like once you actually log in. I set the background color to this Android looking green color right there. And yeah, on the activity main, I sort of did the same thing, set the same background color for that. And I have, of course, my image, my text view for the login screen, and 2 input boxes for username and password. And I did make, let's see here, I don't want get project. I did make a few extra classes so I could have these rounded boxes instead of the square ones. I thought they just looked a little bit nicer. So I have one rounded corner here that just has a white background, and this is where the corners actually get rounded. And then another rounded corner here, which does not have that white background. It's just a translucent one, but does have a border. So that about sums up my application. Solid introduction into Android and getting some of the basics down, and we'll be on to the next.